All right, let's get it going. It's time to finish this. Yo, good. Tired. I mean, it's a Monday, but I was like tired. I mean, it's a Monday, but it is what it is. Yeah. Oh man, on the way to work this morning, I got driven into oncoming traffic by a bus. That was yeah. No, I took a turn. The bus definitely knew I was there and then just pulled out into me anyways. So I had to dip into the oncoming traffic real quick. And then just like slam the gas down and get right in front of him again real fast. Yeah, no, it was fun. uh Destroyed my sunglasses. That was awesome too. So oh yeah, no, I've had a great day so far. Hoping to extend the luck here. Oh man, I kind of wish I got to see what the other people were playing. Yeah, the other two that got out in the first round there. Mm-hmm. Like a toolbox almost. Okay. Just no consistency. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the goal of my deck. I just, focused into more of the control aspect cuz like I was going to run a set of Fiskin Blade, I was going to run a set of like subduing strands and some other things, but I was like, we'll just focus on the Malik package. Why do you think that? I think my deck list effectively countered everybody's. It's like pure control. Mm. Well, I'd been doing yeah, I'd been doing a lot of playtesting on my own, and I'm just like, this everything is really susceptible to removal right now. I think the way to get around it is adding more consistent card draw so that decks that want to play faster can actually get stuff out on the board. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It would it would benefit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is why I run Regolith. That's fair. Mm-hmm. Well, Pocket Sand exists. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a slog fest. Yeah. Yeah. I think my biggest takeaway of all of it is Ad Phantom being -2 Genki. It could probably stand to go to -4, if I'm be honest, because it kind of goes infinite against heavier decks. Right. Uh, I had hit unlimited Genki the one game. Yeah. Yeah. And Regolith with Duraku Injector too. Like it does just go infinite. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think my my biggest thing, or well, I guess let's see who. Okay. Yeah, I think the biggest thing with the balancing would be Ad Phantom needs a little bit of a nerf because it is really strong because there's no counterplay to it at all really. However, for the rest of the deck archetype, I think it is able to get overpowered if some other cards got brought up to speed. Yeah, how suspicious is that? Is that melee? Okay. Melee. All right, go ahead. Gwanky. Go ahead and throw this out. Come on, stack up. There we go. Go ahead and go for a melee. The damage swing. Yep. I do the same thing. It's even worse when they swing you ranged, but it's with Lagar. It trips me out so bad. I'm sorry. Now I just need two more Ad Phantom and your board's gone. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, melee. Ooh. Okay. Damn. Okay. Woo. Okay. Someone's getting bulky. Oh yeah, wait, Ad Phantom can pop that now. Yeah, I'll let you take it back. I don't care. Yeah. Ad Phantom is enough of a power. Yeah. Ad Phantom's enough of a powerhouse card that it's like I ain't even gonna hold it against nobody. This because it really does need tweaked. 6. I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. I'll melee. Mm-hmm. I'll go melee. Okay. Other than the fact that it doesn't do anything but increase your storage amount. Sure, sure. Yeah. Dang. Okay. Let's see. That brings me to 57. Yeah, I think the only deck that can consistently keep up with this is probably Raiju, just because with Grotto, well, not even with just Raiju alone, but turn one Grotto with like Jada, which is the strongest variant I've found, you can get by turn like 2 or 3 all 3 Jadas out, so you can be swinging faster than my Ad Phantom could even get out some games, because it's 6 out of 60 cards, right? And I've got no search power. Yeah, melee. Yes, yeah, because Malik and yeah, I'm meleeing. Yeah, yeah. Malik or Malik or whatever is strong because it's indestructible. Otherwise, everything is susceptible. I think Raiju though is gonna be the hardest to get over with Ad Phantom. Plus, I mean, yeah, disarming strike and some other things help slow Ad Phantom down, and all that stuff. Oh, that'll bring me to 44. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and melee. No Bugu. Oof. Oof. Yeah. Um. Yes, I do. Here. Boom. That's +9. Yeah. Yep. I'll go ahead and burn 2 to get rid of the Lano Cures. And then I'll throw right. I'll throw out a Grumbo's Ale. I'll go ahead and swing you Nobugu. Okay. Pocket sand. One goes away, three goes back to your hand. Yeah. See, now I like the old version where it's your opponent's turn ends. Like that stuff was so nice. Okay, Boo. Okay. Draw two. Gonna head and get Malik up. We'll go ahead and use a Genki to make Regolith. Grab this. I'll go ahead and swing you melee. Yeah, we'll ale. I could have taken that to charge Malik up, but right. That's fine. Okay, Boogu plus 3. Yeah. And bring out Grumbos. And then I'll go ahead and go for the melee. Yeah, I should have had blah, 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 advantage on the 18, but it didn't matter. So yeah, which was the 18 that I rolled, so it didn't matter. Yeah, we're chill. We're chilling. Yeah. Hmm. Oh boy, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and melee. Okay. You're missing one. Okay. Nah. Okay, I'm gonna regolith and I'm going to grab. I'm gonna grab a pocket sand. I'm gonna play Groundless Ale. And I'm gonna go ahead and roll melee. Okay. You're at a Genki? Dang. Boogu. Oh, still goes through. Oh, well, Grumbos. I had to check what some of my face sounds were. Alteraku injector. Regolith. Grab a pocket sand. Yeah, I bet you don't know what that is. Okay, I'm gonna melee. Ah, I saw that 16 a mile away. Oh, Titanic, Cleve, and Hitstreak don't have stockpile either, huh? They could benefit from that massively. I mean, think Titanic, Cleve, that should have stockpile. No. I mean, I'll take advantage, but all right. Okay. Yeah, if I used Boogu, if I used Boogu, I was chilling. I've got ale. I'm gonna go ahead, swing ranged with advantage with Malik. So that's plus 15 defense. Right, and then Ember Steel will probably pop, right? Oh, never mind. Okay. Okay. No. Okay. Boogu for +6. Trigger. Ah, gross. Oh, so much of it just went into my deck. Hold on. One survived. Hey, so we're on 50 now. Yeah, it hurt. I fully agree. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with your Envision Serenity, I would be running Draku Injector. That way you can go more Genki for longer games. Rather than the card draw from Envision Serenity, I would be using it to bring back Draku Injectors because you did run out. I know it didn't matter there, but it's nice to not run out. Yeah. All right, who's going first? I will be going first. We're gonna go ahead and melee. Make sure to set your life total. That was an unfortunate roll. Interesting. It's so absolutely disgusting. Melee. Yep, yep. This last game's gonna be entirely down to chance for me here. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, so disgusting. Okay. We'll do that and then go to melee. I have 3. All right, melee. Trigger. Go. Roll 19, 19, 19, 19, 19. Ah, god damn it. What is this? No. Oh, these rolls are absolutely disgusting. Oh. Hmm. Melee. Oh my god. No, no, no. You don't need anything to spend it on. Okay, melee. Okay. And you have +2 on that. Okay, I take it. Good. I need damage on the board here. Ah! I hate being within 1-shot range. I know. Ah. Okay. You shush your mouth. Okay, melee. That's my melee roll. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, okay, okay. It's I know. I didn't think it would be for you either. This is gross. Give me the things I need. Okay, I'm obviously going to spend one to bring back a Grumbos. We will see. I'm going to go ahead and melee. Okay. Grumbos. Does reducing the damage not... Okay. That's fair. That's fair. You did succeed the rule. Right. Ugh. Come on. Woo! I need to. I'm in danger. Oh yeah, yeah, I know. I see it. Oh boy, I'm going to pop the Lenu to the abyss. Wrong zone. Okay. Melee with Bugu. Barely. You're disgusting. You're disgusting. Ugh. Okay. Bro, where's my Kintsugi at? The serums wouldn't be a bad tech card into this deck either. Oh boy. We're gonna go, we're gonna pop Thulo, which recurs a Genki, and then with Regolith, we are going to go ahead and grab a Grumble's Ale. Okay. I'm going to roll Melee Nobugu. Big damage, big damage, big damage. Okay, I'm defending with Bugu. That's 16. Okay. You make it through. Ugh. Hey, I take the counter. Big number, big number, big number, big number. Okay, we take it. 7 damage, 7 damage. 7 damage, we take it. Okay, you gotta calm down over there. You gotta calm down over there. I'll go ahead and grab the ale. Okay, I'm gonna swing you melee. Yeah, but Boogoo's playing defense right now. Boogoo. No, I'm not quite that low. Not quite that low. Oh, man. Ah. Indestructible still means I can't banish it to the Shadow Realm. Ah. It's different than every other game. Okay. We'll go ahead and Regolith. Yeah. It could be target a not generator card. Just a couple more words on the card makes it balanced still, but okay, we'll get Ale back. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and melee you. I take it. I take it. This is crazy. Mhm. Okay. I'm gonna melee you. Or, well, shit, Regolith first, but yeah. Ugh. I'd rather lose on speed than lose on the attack. You got really hyped on that knot. An ale. Okay, I'm gonna go to melee. No Boogoo. Crit. Okay, let's go. Oh, and I crit again. So this is damage. Well, no, that's not my extra damage roll. That's my advantage on the. I crit engage. I crit the engage, so then I get this crit, and then I crit here. So give it to me. Give it to me. Yes. Underdog. Hey, hey! I told you it'd be an underdog story. Hey, no, 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 no. I was last seed. I was the worst seeded. I know. I told you it was underdog story. Last seed wins it all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I only run 6 regolith too. That's all I need. Yeah, it's all you really need. But yeah, no. Yeah, thank you. That was stressful as hell, man. I did the first person I played against. I did drop game 2 against. Yeah, fucking Talmir goes kind of hard. Yeah, okay, that was stressful. Whoo, those are yeah. No, no, and it went to game 3 against the 2 decks that I would think were the most competitive of the 3 I played. I wasn't expecting the healing deck to even be remotely competitive. Yeah, like it's cheesy if someone can't respond to it, but yeah, yeah, yeah. The big issue is Ad Phantom really stifles the healing deck, but if you aren't running Calidus, it actually does like hard counter everyone else because you just can't out damage it. Unless you're running, except for specifically like Raiju Jada, being able to attack 3 times a turn, I think is the way to get above that damage threshold as well. But yeah, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. My yeah. Well, and let's remember too, like Sarab was where I came from. It was Sarab and the OG Pocket Sand. That was my shit at PAX. I wanted to run Concilium. I wanted to play the OG stuff. I wanted to just be the guy, right? But I just couldn't justify it. The Concilium is just so underpowered compared to everything else. It's like Concilium, Divinus, and what was the one, Perfectus? Those are the 3 that I deemed just completely unplayable in a competitive setting. And realistically, Perfectus had somewhat of a cheesy game plan, but yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My problem with the deck is that it feels like it doesn't have drastic payoff without being able to run something like Titanic Cleave or something that hits really big. And yeah, and I just find that it's really hard to get to decking out basically to recur the Titanic Cleave. And like against my deck, for example, add Phantom at 4 neuters the entire strategy as well. So there is that. I would always basically play this deck in the current state of the game because it is just the best. Even against itself, I feel like it basically ushers in somewhat of a tier 0 format because it can respond to the mirror match other than Malik, so it keeps stuff like Regolith off the board and other things like that. So everything else kind of starts to dwindle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The deck I was surprised that I didn't see was Udana. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's also the only deck that can arguably like run smokescreen and not be throwing, right? Yeah, they're I'm surprised I didn't see it, but then again, I think you can get around it. Like my deck for example, I'll just remove the damn thing. Mhm. Yeah, the multiplayer format. Right. Right. Mhm. Right, right. Mhm. Yeah, no. And the multiplayer game that does sound fun. I just and I've heard you mention too. I've heard you mention too that you're trying to like find the fine line between balancing both single player and multiplayer game modes. And my response to that is kind of like how, for example, how Magic balances versus like Commander and stuff. There can be different lists, like ban lists. Well, there can be no, yeah, but there could be different ban lists for each, like if stuff is really extreme, but balancing for single player is going to help the longevity of the game because every card game boils down to people wanting to play single player in tournaments. I mean, really that's the big thing with strategy games like this. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Possibly, but yes. Yeah. Yep. Nah, you are correct. Like it does have a weakness to that, which is why Udana is not a or a Calidus card because that would get stupid. You wouldn't be able to remove Ad Fonum whatsoever. Ad Fonum would be purely infinite, but no. And like, yeah, no, I do agree and I do get it. It's yeah, it's a hard path to walk. Being able to get everything to work nice. Yeah, no, I would say though that there are a lot of rather than nerfing. All right. Yeah, thank you. That was fun. Mm-hmm. For sure. Oh yeah, I'm the exalted one. Bronze rank exalted one. Woo! Yeah. 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 My personal thought process after playing and all my playtesting and everything is that rather than nerfing a couple of the cards that are just a little stronger, I feel like starting by buffing the vast majority of the cards that aren't seeing any play whatsoever would be smarter. Yes, Boo Goo Buddy went from shit to really good. Yeah. So, yeah, it should have impact for sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the exact thing is we are resource limited by we need the copies. We are option limited because of the deck size and having all the copies, so we fill it so fast. And we also are limited by even if we have it on the board, we can only use its effect one time, even if we have like 3 or 4 stacks of it out, right? So we have so many limitations that cards should feel like really OP as shit. Like Ad Phantom, I say it's strong, but realistically, it probably shouldn't be touched. Everything else should just be brought up to a similar power level. Because Ad Phantom, right? It's that power fantasy. Everything else should be like example, Reckless Attack, right? That card serves quite literally zero purpose right now. I feel. Or yeah, abandon reason. Yeah. Sorry, I say reckless attack because it's a similar effect to how reckless attack is in Baldur's Gate. But yeah, abandon reason feels like it serves literally zero purpose because its payoff is like nothing and it's so hard to get to versus like running any melee weapon. But you might hurt yourself and there's like a higher chance. Like it feels. I like the gamble. I do like the gamble. It just feels like there's not enough payoff. Maybe if you get to do 2d20s extra, but if you like roll a, under 5 or something, you damage yourself or what. Like there's different ways to make it like higher, maybe slightly higher risk, but like way higher reward would bring it up to some of the cards right now, right? Just as an example. Right. And if you're worrying about rarities, I understand that for sure, but mm, mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Seriously? See, I was almost thinking because it's knockout needle, maybe your opponent can't play cards the next turn. Or they can't attack. Because it is locked into range, so it's not like you're meleeing them for like 18 damage and then they can't swing back on you. Uh, just I don't know. I mean that one I agree though. That one is not strong. I was running it in this deck when I was running this deck as a more ranged focused deck, but when Boo Goo Buddy, appeared and I was like, oh, I kind of transitioned to more of a melee strategy because my initial goal was like swing, ranged, and then like subduing strands, discard 2, and then recur that every turn. And that would have been just debilitating because no decks unless it was Divinus, which you're not gonna see because it's really it's just expensive. So you only get like 2 or 3 turns of your game plan before you run out of Genki. It's like unless it's Divinus, your deck's just slowly gonna dissipate. With all my removal too, I could have just kept people from having any board, but no, I'm happy with the way it turned out. What thing? Also, I'm looking at your website for the card game under events. It says there's no events found. Obviously, that's because like the time is up for that event and it's over. But is it possible that you can leave it up as like completed and then show like the rankings in it? Oh, okay, okay. I was just curious because it would be cool to be able to see like a history of placements on the website. That'd be so badass. If it doesn't, I suppose you could like have a Google Doc. I will be curious to see how gladiator events work. Like if you no, it'll be super fun. Yeah. I'm just curious, like competitively, because it's in the rankings, right? There will be a gladiator ranking and then like a overall ranking. I am curious to see with gladiator, like, oh, do we need to like? I mean, obviously, we're probably going to be pre-selecting teammates before going into the event, unless it's not like a teammate based game and it's just like a 1v1v1v1 like commander would be, in which case then obviously it is what that's whatever, but right, right, okay, okay, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. And I wonder too, like maybe multiplayer, where you're like playing with teams could be even like a different game mode. If Gladiator's just like 4 player 1v1, v1v1, maybe you could have like, I don't know, war or something like something like that for like when you have 3 people versus 3 people or something like that, where it's like you're charge, going to war type thing. I don't know. Just that way the ranking for that could be separate. You could split it between players and it's not like people who are really good at war are going to be the top ranked players across the board unless like 3 people win every single event. In which case like conquest could be competitive, gladiator could be competitive, war it's like everyone's bronze tier and then you get like the platinum rank people who are just insane. I am curious too as far as like the signed beta cards and everything. I want to ask if there are erratas, right? Because it sounds like you plan to kind of keep updating things, possibly even after they're printed. After print, they're same. Okay, okay. No, that's valid. I was well, no, they do card erratas in Yu-Gi-Oh too. Right. Okay. I know Magic doesn't. They just ban shit, which to be fair, So does Yu-Gi-Oh anyways. So um right. Yeah. Hmm. Well, um I literally have already proved you wrong in a game with Infinite Genki. I could have played the grind game. I had it set up to where okay. Well, even without Draku Injector, I had Infinite. But then like with Draku Injector, obviously it got like safer. And like Actin Drody exists too, I suppose. But right. Like how well you say yeah. Similarly to how my old Raiju deck worked, which first of all, it wasn't in the rule sheet and it kind of still isn't. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then this my second thing too is even though it was like holy shit this is really strong, I through my playtesting of how the game worked that way, everything was like viable. Divinus was viable. Concilium would like it made everything was actually really competitively viable with each other because the only limiting factor being needing copies of cards allowed decks to kind of play more clean lists, I want to say. And then it was able to you're and the thing too is turns sometimes even just kind of turned out quicker, which like even though you were doing more stuff, like turns would still go faster because sometimes turns in this like take a while. Like the typical match in this is like 30 to 45 minutes depending on the luck of rolls, right? Which for a card game that's like typically how long a best of 3 lasts, right? So I was getting consistent like 10 to 15-minute games that other way as well, just because like games were ending quicker because decks were stronger. But it's not going to go in that direction, which is totally chill. I like it slow too because it makes Calidus control that much stronger. Hmm. Yeah. Until like the finals or something, right? Yeah. And then my question for you too is, what is your plan on having sideboards? Because I know we have the fountain, which funnily enough, the zone looks like a fountain already. So I think we adopt that name and it's my permanent brand on the card game. No, the fountain's dope. But having like a side deck for those best of threes makes some cards that currently aren't viable in a competitive setting viable, such as Calatrops and Smokescreen. You're not going to play those because you don't know what your opponent's bringing melee or ranged, so they could just be dead cards at any given time. Being able to have those in the sideboard make a lot of sense to me. Mm-hmm. I don't suppose it would hurt. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man, you just made me think of something. What a OP three-person combo it would be to run Inspirante, Interidus, and Calidus. Because you could go, you can't melee me, but if you deal more than 10 damage, I counter you. But also, Raiju exists with also probably Jada, because Raiju Jada is such a strong strategy. And then Calidus control over in the corner, just keeping you from playing the game. My deck 3 times. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. In groups, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. I've heard you talked about this in the Discord. Right, right. No, I do like that. It's just that game's gonna take like 3.5 hours. Of course. Oh, of course. Yeah. You just leave Raiju out and you're just like, hey, what's up? Yeah. No, I do have a question as far as what your plans are with Adhikarna or whatever it is for the other Inspirante card. That card sucks absolute ass. What are you planning to do with it? Multiplayer. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Okay. I was just curious on that because I keep every single time I look at Inspirante, I'm like, oh my god, if this card was usable, I might play. No, I would say, mm, yeah, yeah. And I'm just looking here. My other deck option would have been the Raiju Jada setup. If I'm gonna be completely honest, with how there was literally no like removal interaction whatsoever throughout this whole tournament, I think I would have not dropped a single round if I had played this deck because I think this deck is just outright stronger if not messed up. Because again, I get Grumbo's Grotto and a Raiju in my starting hand, which is like all but guaranteed, honestly. I have Jada and a half on board already, and if I can do it again, I'm already at 3 attacks a turn. Raiju is insane. I'm running Aknadrodi, Hara, and Mkono, so I would be able to generate 5 a turn if I could get them out. With Duraku injectors too. So like there's a world where I could swing Raiju 7 turns in a row, right? Or Jada, just like a bunch of the buff on that as well. So plus Ion Core would help just for consistency's sake. I had subduing strands in this one too, just for a little bit of disruption. Although I probably would drop it for consistency now, right? But I think this deck would have been really fun too. But no, it was good. I will say the deck that was scariest to me was probably that Talmir deck, only because being able to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that deck was actually it was strong enough to make me sweat a little, but it was consistently able to play strongly every single game, which is why game 3 was so tight. Game 3 was tight on this one because the rolls were horrendous at the beginning for me. I was getting railed off rip with like nothing on the board. So the Talmir deck was definitely, I think, the second strongest out of what I'd played. Again, I didn't get to play the first 2 players, but I'm assuming since they were also out pretty rapidly against these 2 decks that I had just played against, that they probably weren't all that well constructed either. Yeah. Yeah. Let's take a peek. Right. Okay, I just found it. Hmm. I think you're seeding the seeds here are wrong. I was last seed. Oh, so this isn't what we actually rolled for our own actual seeding when we okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, same difference, I suppose. Right. Oh, being able to see all the rounds, that's nice. That's cool. Round 1. Did they get a bye? I thought they had played. The other pair, Dwib Dorkington and Xenophon Schulz. It says they got a bye on round 1 on the event. Right. Okay. Right. Right. Also, round 2 did not go 2-1. That was the best of 1. Did it just force you to have to do like 3? Right. Okay. Hey, well now that we've got official seedings, those first buy rounds can actually be allocated to people. Right. Hmm. And that's just so that you don't have like a local tournament in the whittle of who knows where Arkansas, and then the exalted one just walks into the store is like, "Hey, I get a buy round, right?" Yeah. All right. No, okay. I gotta see these decks. I wish I could right click and click open in a new tab. I'll just duplicate a couple times. Oh, I don't even need to because it doesn't like open a new tab thing. It just opens a little screen. Okay. Thulo, Ember Steel, Lenu, Curious, Bob and Weave, Iron Resolve, 5 Hara. Yeah, this is the thing that always confuses me with some of y'all's decks when like you'll run 10 Aknindrodi. It's like that's just 2 dead cards. Like right here, it's a fifth Hara. You could go another Draku Injector, and literally it serves more purpose. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie too, the Kintsugi deck looks like it has really good rates. It's running low enough of cards that it gets away with running 10 Kintsugi and 10 Aknindrodi for consistency, and it keeps full stacks of everything else. I don't hate how that deck actually is constructed. Yeah, 2 Kintsugi and 2 Aknindrodi down. I think you get like 42 cards, and just for consistency's sake, you're drawing into your stuff more. Well, Kintsugi is the only one, right? So Aknindrodi's fine to drop too, but Kintsugi being the only card that could be removed in that regard is not really going to be removed by anything unless it's 2 disarming strikes or Ad Phantom, and Ad Phantom just pops it forever. Yeah. What am I looking at? OPPPP. OPPPP. This deck. It's Juna's. I'm looking at it and I immediately go, what am I looking at? I see 6 Ekans, fine. 4 Ivory, okay, weird, but okay. 5 Ion Core with 1 Underdogs. You immediately could go to 3 Underdogs, and it's immediately better. 6 Aknindrodi, 5 Neural Conduit. You're not even like going to full stacks. This is 3 adventure boots. I'm tripping. I'm tripping out. 4 Vanishing Act. How interesting. Hey, running masteries though. I think you're wrong. Mm, yeah. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. No. Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. I will just say that if you're running a strategy that is so fine tuned and such a low card count that you can fit it to get to still be around 40 cards and still run the mastery, fine. But like in a deck that's running more cards like Calidus Control, Raiju Jada, it just like it just is bloating the deck. Right. I think like Talmir, they were running Brass Hideout. I think that is fully valid. Right. The next one, yeah, 5 Sarab. What? He's 7 Mkono. So interesting. Yeah. I guess envision Serenity to try to recur one to get the 3 again or 2 again or whatever, but mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I do agree. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do. Right. I do think Hinengaro could use a buff because you have to spend so much Genki just to even have any amount discarded, right? You have to spend at least 4. And needing to spend 4 for one discard when subduing strands exists, it like it feels weak. Right. I get it. No, I do. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think too. Like, we can look at their deck list. They have 6 Hara and 7 Mkono. You couldn't even get one discard a turn because you'd have to run Aknandrodi as well. Yes, it was not built well. However, thinking about it, Hin and Garo to get one discard, you need to run pretty much 8 copies of Aknandrodi and 6 of Mkono for consistency's sake, and you have to get them. You have to have 7 cards basically on the board just to have enough to make Hinengaro have any value turn after turn, and it is still so expensive that you only get to do it for 5 turns before you no longer get to. So you get 5 cards discarded, and no other Genki can be used for anything. Sarab, Shattered Void, anything. I think that card, like, if Hinengaro was better, I think Concilium is viable, honestly. Right, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and I think it might be better to just be like 3 Genki. Target player must place their hand face down, and then turn player gets to pick a card to discard, right? That way you at least for 3 Genki get 1 card discarded, and it's not like you're trying to only get to see some cards. It's like, or you don't even get to see them, but all cards are available for the random discard. I feel like even though it's still like a random chance, might. Yeah, no, like that one's. I get it. It's hard to balance because I mean it could get really oppressive really fast. I think having it being able to infinitely scale off of Genki is what would make it too strong. I think if you gave it a flat cost for a flat effect, it would not have the chance to get super OP. Yeah. Well, if you can see their whole hand and then you just pick 3 to pick one, you could just pick one. You get to see 3 cards. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And you know what's crazy too? I think like for the card art, that makes sense because you got 7 cards, which is like a hand, and then you take 3, and then you get to pop one after seeing 3. Yeah, that would make the card for a 2 cost card, cost 3 Genki, you get some knowledge and you get to have them discard one. It it's sort of a proactive removal, and I think that that would feel a lot better, honestly. And then Shattered Void, which is like the main focus piece of Concilium. Like Sarab obviously is like good, but you know, it's always a chance. Shattered Void is the payoff card for the Genki spent. Uh 2x. Yeah, Shattered Void. Cuz to get any meaningful debuff. Okay. Right. Right. So one round being right. Cuz it's that's for one round being one. So one round is one cycle around the table then? Okay. 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 Right. Right. I guess my mindset is, and I want to think about this in somewhat in the lore of the universe as well. If we are attempting to bring cards up to be what would be considered like, oh damn, when it hits the board, right? Uh, right, similar to a couple things like Ad Phantom, Heart of Malik, things like that, where it's like, oh damn, now I've got it. That's impact, right? Um, Making it to where ideally most cards have that sort of effect and impact. In my mind, it's like in 1v1, if a Shattered Void hits the board and it's like a, oh damn, right? Because that's just annoying as hell to deal with. And then in multiplayer, because just thinking about it with the card art and everything, yeah, and reading the card text thing with the in the shadows of my sleep and all that stuff. It's almost like it's I imagine it almost as like okay, you're giving one person a nightmare, right? And like it that should be impactful because you're impacting that one person and just like it's debilitating, right? But then when you're in a like there's way more people, I imagine the person casting the Shattered Void is like crazy dark, like necro wizard, just like fog bellows out and everyone just like all of a sudden has like a schizophrenic like moment. So being able to, I think even just 2x makes it in 1v1 play better, and then in multiplayer it's like, oh shit, even more, right? When it hits the board. And obviously with everything trying to be brought up, it makes it to where, I mean, I don't think it would be particularly like it'd be strong in multiplayer, but so is a lot of stuff. Again, like Udana. Yeah, and then in 1v1v1v1 it only targets one person too, instead of like a 3v3. So while yeah, they might get messed up pretty bad by everyone else, if everyone else wants to play politics to some extent, they wouldn't take advantage of that. I don't know. Just a thought. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. I'm still having a hell of a time justifying Adhikara being fatigue off of one card in the scrapyard. I know. Right. Mm. Mm. Right. And I suppose with it being on the next roll, you very well could do it on damage. Right. But I can imagine something like in a melee deck, maybe you're using Fang of the Abyss or something too with the +10. You could go Boo Buddy. Yeah. You go Boo Buddy to get in, add Hikara to deal like I don't know, say you put 5 Genki in it plus 15 damage. Like it's I suppose I actually like uh, yeah, no, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to play around with that a little bit more. I haven't touched it because I've seen the fatigue and I'm like, ew. But I guess I'd have to play with it a little bit more. Let's see what else was like a big one. I'm also I would love to see a Dreadnought Cannon deck. Well, I that's what you would do. I get that. But you're also for the aim you're wanting the energy, which I guess Ion Core can supplement that to some extent if you don't want to deal with that. Ion Core is really good. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Uh, Who knows? Maybe I'll bring it the next event. As long as it doesn't as long as things transition in such a way that it's not just tier 0 Calidus control cuz like if we did another event, I have this weird feeling that the 3 people I played against are probably also going to be running Calidus control into me. Right. Talmir, right? No, there will be more control though. Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised no one played Fisk and Blade. Because in my mind, that is probably the single strongest strategy if it doesn't get removed. Turn over turn. I wanted to play Fiskin in my deck. I just was it was such a tight list that like if I played it, I would have only played 3 or 6, and I would have played. I had in my deck list, and you can literally we can go and look at my description. I wrote down depending on how certain cards worked with the rulings, how I'm going to play the deck because I wasn't for sure on everything yet. But when I found out like how Boo Buddy and Malik worked properly, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna really lean into having this more consistent, like kind of damage soak and control game plan, and then just run away constantly while swinging big damage with the +5. And I it worked, but the next choice was the next choice down would have been Dreadnought Cannon, honestly. Because I would have done Dreadnought Cannon, Subduing Strands, Knockout Needle, like a couple things, and just been really debilitating, but I think that would have been weaker. And then the next step down would have been like go back to the OG and run Fiskin Blade. And again, no one was running any removal. Fiskin Blade would have been so strong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the nice thing too is, as far as removal goes, everything is universal other than Ad Phantom. And Ad Phantom is like obviously with that many cards, kind of hard to get off like the 4 or 6 copies you'd need. Um, Disarming Strike should probably be ran in every deck that's not a range deck, and Pocket Sand sees value too, although it's not as necessary. But Disarming Strike is Disarming Strike is important. And if you're going to make Knockout Needle like a bounce to the top of the deck thing, that would make the Disarming Strike for ranged, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So I think changing knockout needle, it'll help balance ranged to make ranged actually be able to compete as far as controlling the board goes. And then yeah, I mean Calidus is going to be the strongest control deck because of Ad Phantom, but it's not the only reason that makes Calidus good because you also get the hammer is nice and what's the third card? How am I forgetting what the third card is? I didn't run it, that's why. Hold on. Third card is V Monero, which is like if you want a more aggressive style. I wouldn't see now. My thing though is like, why the hell would I use V Monero if I have Boo Buddy and Regolith? That's the common of the archetype for sure. It'll be like 2 or something. That might okay. I'm just gonna tell you right now that kills the card immediately. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My thought process here is because again, I think a lot of cards should be brought up to power rather than the strong ones being nerfed. I think I think try Regolith to 2 because Regolith to 2 forces you to run at least 6 copies of Hara to be able to every other turn use Ad Phantom, right? If you want to do Ad Phantom and Regolith in the same turn. Well, I suppose that's the issue with Ad Phantom then. Well, again though, like what there was only one deck that ran a card that cost 4. There was only one deck that ran a card that cost 4. It was Kintsugi. That was the only one. Mm-hmm. And it'd be like you'd have to be matchup dependent against Raiju. And to be fair, if Ad Phantom slurps up a Raiju, I want an advantage because I'd have to get all 6 Ad Phantoms on the board and not have died to Raiju first. You know? Yeah. No. And then against 4 cost cards, it's like sure you gain 2, I suppose, which helps with Regolith, but really it's just to keep Ad Phantom up without needing Aknindrodi. Um, because otherwise you're still like slowly running out, which requires you to run the generator. Regolith to 2 still requires you deck building wise to run at least Hara, if not Aknindrodi, which then makes the deck unable to run as many control cards. Yes, but Mkona again, matchup dependent, Ad Phantom or Regolith. You only get to do you actually only get to do both if it's like specifically Kintsugi, Dreadnought Cannon, or Raiju. Those are 3 archetypes. Sure. Yeah. Right. Right. Maybe. Speaking of Grumbos, like Grumbo's Grotto, that card, if I'm gonna be completely honest, because this is the way I think about it. The mastery cards are very, very archetype niche, right? Because realistically, they are just bloating the deck unless you're like really Talmir is the only one that really benefits from it at the moment, right now. Um, Grotto being X minus two means the only archetype that really benefits from it and can actually utilize it for immediate payoff is Raiju. That's why I run 10 Raiju and 6 Grotto in my Raiju decks, because it is basically my engine. And X minus two, it still works in Raiju, but it's basically killed every other archetype that can run it. Because again, there's not many 4 costs, and if you're doing it for 3 costs, you're spending 3 cards to get 1 copy, and there's not a lot of graveyard recursion, right? Um, yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My, I've had the thought because it would make it usable for more decks while also keeping it from being able to chain with itself. What if you bring it back to X minus one but make it a mastery? Like, what's your thoughts on that? It can't search itself or any other masteries, but it actually becomes usable in, like, Talmir can use it, for example, right? And like actually get copies. Just like I'm just saying, like, decks that typically run like 3 is their maximum cost, because there's not many 4 or 5 cost cards, and even then they're very, very niche archetypes where, like, Dreadnought Cannon, you kind of don't want to pitch those because you want the 4 copies to get it going, right? Kintsugi, you don't want to pitch because you kind of need that on the board as quickly as possible. Raiju is literally the only archetype that reasonably runs Grumbo's Grotto for benefit at the moment. You know, I'm just trying to think of, like, because Grumbo's Grotto and Raiju, very, very strong, but it's basically only able to be played with that archetype when it's like such a cool tutor, and it's also a Grumbo card, and Grumbo is Pog. Uh, Being able to let other decks maybe access it. It's just, it's strong, so it's obviously difficult. I had the thought process, um again, of like trying to bring cards to be of a somewhat higher power level. Uh my thought process was Grumbo's Grotto to 1 but make it a mastery, and then make the mastery cards go back to being 1. However, you can only search cards that cost 3 or less. That way, the masteries serve the purpose of Grotto for lower cost decks, and Grotto serves the purpose of the higher cost decks. But you obviously need more copies of Grotto to get it to work, and you're discarding the card. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't hate it either right now. I was just, it was a thought. Grumbo's dice. Really? Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh man, I want to see it go to 3. I wanna see it 3 cost, and it's pay 1 reroll a dice, pay 2 make target reroll a dice, or maybe pay 3 make target reroll 1 dice. But at the very least, it's like somewhat easy. Right. Or burn 3. I mean, burn 3 probably makes more sense because it's the whole stack again. But I I don't know. That's hard. I just like, again, I'm surprised I didn't see it because you're right. It is instant advantage, but it takes up so much deck space and it burns itself away so fast that over the course of long games, which they tend to get long, right? It's hard to justify running the space. Yeah, I think it would see. I think it would actually see play on Grumbo's dice. 1, 2. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And the nice thing about it too is it almost makes it more reminiscent of when we were playing with it at PAX, where I could re-roll a dice on my turn, and then on my opponent's turn for the rest of the stack, I could make them re-roll a dice, and then it's gone, right? And that felt really good. I mean, we all played Grumbo's dice; it was so fun. But now it feels kind of slow and clunky. It's like you either have to make the target re-roll a dice, or you get 2 re-rolls on yourself, but it costs 4 to play. So you can only get 2 stacks in your deck worth, really. And yep, I think 3 and 1, 2 or 1, 3 sounds a lot better for that. I would love to see somebody play Incarnation of Misery, but -6 to hit is hard. Well, that would be, yeah. I have a question. If I paid 5 finesse, could I get +6 and piercing? Or does that not? Because it's 1 for +3, 2 for +6, and 3 for piercing. Mm-hmm. Right, I figured. I figured. Mm-hmm. Right, right. Oh, okay. Then that is fine then. I was just like piercing, but you're still on -6 to hit is so hard. Okay. Okay. That's chill. Actually, honestly, Incarnation of Misery on a finesse deck, that would be a solid archetype once that gets the +6 plus piercing. I think that would actually be really strong. Obviously, you have to get the Incarnation of Misery out, but I'm down. Yeah, no, I'm down. Irazumi, yeah, that's chilling actually. That card's pretty good. Ion Core is chilling. That card's pretty good. Yeah, because Ion Core and Incarnation of Misery is like a match made in heaven, honestly. I mean, gaining 4 melee or 4 defense, it's like you're only going to use the defense in that deck. But I mean, at +15 range damage, you're fine. Ivory Carbine is good. I do like too that it got the +5 aim added because I don't remember, but I don't think that was there at first. Yeah. However, Kepi is dog shit. That card is not worth being used. Mm, yeah, that's so sad too. It looks dope. My thought process is Grumbo's dice. The sniper needed tweaked. There wasn't another one yet, other than the grotto and masteries being able to be tweaked in certain ways, which obviously will need like a lot of gameplay to make sure that it's balanced and everything. But yeah, I mean, I agree. They're fine. Imagine Kepi had a keyword called dual wield. If you had no, not even barrage. I'm talking like dual wield, where if you have two copies of it on the board, you could attack with both at the same time and just get +4. Yeah, because they're single hand weapons. It would at least make Kepi have somewhat of a strategy to it, rather than just being a 2 cost +2 and it sucks. Dual wield actually sounds fun. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Right. Right. Oh, I just had a crazy idea. Oh my god, I just had a crazy idea. Kepi is a dual wield, and then in a later set, release a 5 cost dual wield that's like a fucking chain gun that gives like +8. You have to have all 10 copies on the board, but it's like being what's his name, the new character in Overwatch or whatever. Maga or whatever his name is. Yeah, that would be a cool strategy though. He's been nerfed a couple times, yeah. But it would be cool too, just being able to, because like Barrage has its own synergies and some other things have its own synergies. Being able to give Kepi a synergy that like right now makes it still kind of suck, but like in the future it can be like maybe there could be a card like search your deck for a dual wield card or something, like just in archetype support and stuff. It could be cool. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what's absolutely crazy about that? That sounds like giving Kepi dual wield would be badass. Because it makes sense. You're dual wielding Kepi, and now you're getting like passives that basically maybe the passive activates dual wielding the Kepi and gives a bonus if you spend finesse, right? Like, oh, you can now get crushing blow or blitz or whatever it needs to be if you spend 2 finesse, 3 finesse, whatever. And if you have multiple Kepi or something, like you get dual wield just because like I think it'd be a cute little aggro deck where it's like the character just runs 2 Kepis in their hands. They're just kind of running around like pew 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 like a what's his name? Lucian from League. Yeah, that could be cute. Oh, Knockout Needle was the other one you were thinking about. Oh, number 25 out of 85. Yeah, okay. Making use of the Ruberry's paralyzing effects. A single dart can stop even a Colossura. The effect does not make it seem like it can stop a Colossura, whatever that is. Yeah. Make it a 5 cost, make it skip players next turn. It knocks them out for a turn. They go sleepy night night and bounce it, and I'd have to draw into it for like 3 turns. Yeah. No, I like that. I was memeing about the skip turn thing. It's just I want old pocket sand back. Okay. Speaking of, okay, what is your plan as far as card printings to have like full arts, foils, and other things like that? Right. 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 That's chill. Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. Oh, cool. Phyrexian? Right. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, you will. Look, have you ever looked into the Pokemon TCG? That's literally what people do. They will pay hundreds of dollars for a card and then immediately run it into a tournament. Like they don't mess around. Okay. Yeah, of course. Let me throw an idea out to you here. The signed cards that people get for winning tournaments. Obviously, the like top 4 or whatever get whatever. But think about this. The winner of the tournaments, because like all the top 4 get signed beta cards, which is badass. The winner of the tournaments, and the cards are like usable in events. Imagine the winner gets like event winner full arts. That's where I was getting at with that, because like your guys' arts are nice. Being able to have like a full art of like pocket sand or something, right? Or something, and it's all like glittery, sparkly, and everything. Maybe the pocket sand is like gold speckled or whatever the hell, and like the dude's wearing a Rolex or something. I don't know, but like, not that it needs to be like extra done art or anything. Just make it full, like full screen, basically. Would be kind of cool, because it like show you basically people who win consistently and keep getting a bunch of like victory cards say they are able to craft those into a deck because like they work together or something. It would be cool to have a whole deck of signed full art, and then imagine you get the exalted one who walks in, sits down at a table, no one knows who they are because like they play online or whatever, and like no one knows, and then they sit down at a table and then they start playing cards and they're just all signed glittery full arts, and your opponents just go, oh fuck, like I'm gonna lose. It's just a thought process that could be cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right, right. Pokemon does something similar too. If you win a regional or a national, you get into Worlds. I get in the World of Kylie Worlds, hell yeah. Or like maybe not Worlds, but like yeah, NA Worlds, and then the next yeah nationals. Then we start the next year. We get international, and then we get Worlds. Year 3 Worlds. That actually makes me super hype and excited. I'm like every single time I turn around, I keep like winning more shit. I'm so hyped to be able to play in the end of year tournament. That makes me so excited. Seattle. Oh, LA. I know. Now you know what you do? Now you know what you do? Instead of LA or Seattle, go somewhere that's not the big overcrowded city. Like Oregon has what's it's called? It starts with like a P or whatever. Portland and like Florida has Miami and all these places. Go somewhere like Tampa, Florida, or I don't know where it would be. I don't know where it would be in Washington, but like San Diego or something, right? Like so it's not that massive city, but it's still somewhere that people can travel to for the event, and it's like maybe a little bit nicer. Because let's be honest, Seattle, LA, and a couple of those other big cities are like they're cool at nighttime, but in the daytime they just kind of look like shit, which is unfortunate because Seattle's actually really pretty in the nighttime. But San Diego's got all the beaches and everything. And I imagine with how long these games last, if we're going to do a big tournament, we're going to be playing from the daylight till like dawn to dusk, you know? Mm-hmm. Best of one double knockout feels like it probably fits the best in this game. With like a best of 3 finals, which obviously is basically just like single or it's like double knockout best of 1 in the finals. It's just best of 3. That's basically what it is. Okay, looking at other cards. Redemption's actually dope as long as I don't pop it with that bottom. I don't hate Redemption actually. That's cool. Scatter Shot feels weak. With 75 health, the max you could deal with Scatter Shot in an entire game without recursion is 15. I feel like it should hit harder. Mm-hmm. Fiskin. Right. What's a card that I'm trying to talk about in reference, but like it doesn't exist? Right. Right, right, right. You know what you do? You print a full art fancy speckled copy in the yeah, in the Grumbo language and then and then it's all like fancy just bougie out and it's just called Cursed Blade. And then you get to like yeah, it's just cool. That's what I'm trying to think because like obviously you've got all the fancy cards, the gold cards, and all this stuff for like the equivalent of like Pokemon's full art, holo, rare, whatever's. But like being able to just have that extra special fancy thing for like the winners of big events and stuff would be just completely badass for the winners, and it gives so much more. Because like think about it. Okay, eventually at some point, people will have enough dice leather journal playmat that's all signed and like posters and stuff, and eventually too it's like to some extent a lot of like the really competitive people, the money won't matter as much as I want to be the top dog and win worlds, right? The cards are a big incentive for people, and even casual people look at that and they're like, oh god damn it, I gotta play, you know, like that same thing happens with Pokemon. There's a lot of people who play in Pokemon tournaments who aren't inherently competitive, but There's like limited edition shit that they get for winning. Yeah, it would be so cool. Hmm. You build around them. Yeah. Support. Hmm. Yep. I know what it does. Yep. Which thank fucking God that you did. Because actually kill me when that shit is there. None of us played Genki other than me with Sarab, and I just loaded with so much of it that I just never could get hit. But that was literally it. It was debilitating when you drew into it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you don't mind, I want to stop you right there. I do love the idea. I think you keep Kraymog's furnace the same because it's actually like sees use in Divinus and stuff. I think you make what your idea is right now into a new card in the next set called Grumbo's Dumpster. What do you mean? And then the next turn you draw two, and then you pitch it again, and you have the same size of hand basically every turn, but then you keep getting to pitch things to like filter through your deck. Then make it not be -2. You make it not be -2, and then it immediately solves the issue of dwindling your resources more. I I I will tell you right now, my entire deck strategy that I've tried to make work with Divinus like 4 different times now is literally Shukra Kramog's Furnace and trying to pitch from 40 cards down to nothing and just Shukra everything back as I like need it. Right? Because my thought process is if you give Titanic Cleave stockpile, it becomes a good strategy. Why? Yeah, but Titanic Cleave, if you get all 9, which is hard to do, and it's hard to do multiple times, and you have to pop it before you even know if you're hitting your opponent. Oh, okay. Well, still, yeah. I would love to see Titanic Cleave and Hitstreak have stockpile. It just makes so much sense. But it literally, even the card art, it makes so much sense. But okay. Oh, are they commons? Okay, I suppose. That's fine. Scatter shots should only pitch one. I think that's the fix to it. It still only deals 30 throughout the course of a game without recursion. And even with recursion, it's like still slow and not a lot of damage. Might not be a bad idea. No. Either burn 1 for 5 each time or burn 2 for maybe like 7 to 10 damage around there. I don't know. Because, like, obviously burn is a strategy between Dogga and Scattershot, but while Dogga maybe we'll see play because it also gives itself its own control aspect, when you run out of Scattershots, and I've built the burn deck because I wanted to play burn at first. It was like my thing. There's not enough recursion, especially with Envisioned Sanctuary going away. Like the recursion of that being a lot worse now. You can't recur the scatter shot unless you're in Calidus, and even in Calidus, there's just better stuff to recur. Like Ale. And if Regolith gets put to 3, Scattershot literally cannot come back, so it's just the burn deck is a very limited burn deck. Unless Scattershot is a common and you don't want it to be like a focal point of a deck archetype. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. I have a couple I have a couple tweaks. Why the hell is strategic studies and the other one for finesse just worse versions of the one for Genki? I think that is why finesse isn't getting played. Really? Okay. Genki, you could pen X. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that clears that up to some extent because I've always looked at it like I can only store 2, I can only store 4. Why? So yeah. It wouldn't be bad. It would see play if it was only 1 finesse for 5 a.m. Oh my god, Titanic Cleave should have stockpile. Every time I look at that big ass hammer with that big ass dude. But you only could do it once. Hey, some commons are good. I mean, think about it in Magic. Counterspell's a common. That like is the bread and butter card of all of MTG. Like there's good commons. Just because it's a common doesn't mean it has to be good. I think actually Titanic Cleave being able to have such a strong effect and being a common works because if you want the 9 damage, it's a common, so you could feasibly pull 9 copies. Like if it was a mythic and it had stockpile, like that would suck because you never get to 9. It'd be just off of pulling, it'd be hard to pull, Yeah, I don't know. It would feel so good. But no, I get it. It's fine at 3, but it would feel so good. Divinus Titanic Cleave. Oh my god. Well, only once. Unless again you're able to furnace your deck away and then recur Titanic Cleave by drawing it, which drawing it gets me to Vidaire. Vidaire is literally useless. It's so expensive for a draw too. I don't know. Because you have to have Aknandrodi and Mkono on the board to even use it once a turn. 3 would feel better. Well, yeah, any lower and it's a lot of value. But going 3 at least means you can run Hara with it, which is nicer. I don't disagree. It's hard to have enough copies without bloating the deck. Yep. Yeah. No, I fully agree with you. That would be huge. Bringing Videra to 2, Acisaio maybe could stay to 3, and then Shukra to 2 or something, or vice versa. Yeah, I think that actually works so much better because at least then you could feasibly get Videra online, and yeah, you need Mkono or Aknandrodi plus a Hara to use it if it goes to 3, but at least you can use it without having... Because again, if you want to use it every turn, currently, you have to bloat your deck with what would be 14 to 17 copies of a card, trying to run 8 Aknandrodi and 6 to 9 Mkono, really? To consistently get it once a turn. And it's only a draw 2, which isn't a massive payoff for 4 Genki. Like, I know way better uses for 4 Genki. A Acisaio, right? Like, yeah. Even putting it at 2, I want to say wouldn't be the worst because Divinus currently has the game plan of like very quick, aggressive Acisaio. You want to pitch the cards from your hand for Acisaio and being able to recur to keep your deck so that you can keep drawing to have a big hand. Videre being pay 2 and tap to draw 2 cards does not sound broken when you are going to be using them in a Acisaio, and that's the strategy. Right. I don't think that would be too OP. I actually think that would make Divinus viable, and I don't think it would make it broken. Because Ad Phantom exists. Disarming Strike would kill it because it's only 2 cost, right? Like, there's counterplay as well. And Kintsugi exists. Like, you want to talk about value. For a couple Genki, you can heal, like, 2 turns worth of damage or more. So, I don't hate Videre going to 2 and only costing 2. And again, if it's like if it's super broken, we put it to 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised people were running Unknown Serum. Yeah. I never... Yeah. Yeah. Look... That is not the only reason, but okay. No, it's not. Actually, most of white is white weenies. If you're playing life gain, that is specifically Orzhov colors. Like, that's... Or Esper. Like, you're not... Yeah. Ooh. That's why you should put Titanic Cleave as stockpile. The counterplay. Hey, think about it. No, think about it. Oh my god, think about it. Titanic Cleave gets stockpile, hit streak gets barrage. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Come on, big payoff one time a game. And like that would be the limiting factor too, because it's one, if you save it up like that, you're risking dying for one, like before you get it, for one big payoff turn. And then if there's strategies that can abuse that, obviously, then that is other cards that aren't the commons that are more expensive and all this stuff. Like Vidair, Shukra, and all that stuff, because like it's a strategy, but Titanic Cleave itself is not inherently the most giga broken thing, because it is a one-time thing. Like Malik is way stronger over the course of a game. You get multiple +5s and multiple +20s. We've seen it, right? Malik and Kintsugi without Aknadrodi in play, or not Aknadrodi, I'm sorry, Ad Phantom. Malik and Kintsugi, realistically, you don't die and keep consistently getting +20s, right? Titanic Cleave and Hit Streak being both stockpile on Titanic Cleave, because it's like one big hit, and Hit Streak being like multiple arrows, because I think it literally shoots 3 arrows. It would be cool to be all 3 barrage, right? And it makes sense for ranged too, just being able to like boom, 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 right? And try to hit each arrow rather than all 3 hitting at once if you hit once. Like it makes sense for the card art, it makes sense for the cards, and it gives counterplay to some of the cheesier things. Like, for example, oh, you're going to save up Titanic Cleaves, and I'm playing my Calidus control deck as it stands right now, which would pop Titanic Cleave every single, like, time if it stayed, or any other cards you have. Now, you have a 1 turn, I survived this long, thank God, I have to, like, get it now, 9 Titanic Cleave, and I'm going to swing you and hit you and cleave you and try to bonk the shit out of you. I just think just because it's common doesn't mean it has to be not have its own strategy and big payoff. Just that it requires to be consistently good other support that maybe is more expensive, or like other things to focus around that are more expensive, like how Kintsugi and Heart of Malik work, or like the Kepi idea with dual wield. It still is not inherently strong, because it's still weak, but like with dual wield support, it could get cool. This card would be inherently strong, but without support, it's 1 use. Yeah. If you, yeah. If you want more card ideas, next set release one that's 5 cost called Colossus Cleave. And it's like plus 8x or something. And then or honestly plus 5x, but it's just 5. Probably isn't, like, it could still probably not be that. Yeah, it'd probably be fine, honestly, on plus 5 still. I don't know. But then, and then the next set, you release the first 6 cost card. Yeah, the set after that, set number 3. We call it, yeah, it's Grumbo's Cleave. Okay, you know, Grumbo's Cleave. And it's just like plus 10x. It's like almost a one shot, but you literally have to have 6 copies of it, which is so hard to get. And you could only run 1 in the deck, like, entirely, so it's without recursion, you literally only get to use it once. I don't know. Grumbo's Potion would be cool for like a heal pot type effect. Grumbo's Potion 2 could be like a Genki generator card, like a one-time, you play this card for 1, burn it, generate 2 Genki onto onto a generator or something. Like a mana pot. Grumbo's Crack Cocaine for finesse. Oh, you could lean into Grumbo so hard. Okay, y'all gotta have a set though where it's like the set is so, it's like Grumbo's Grand Emporium, like that's the name of the set, and like 90% of the cards is just Grumbo related stuff. Grumbo's Dumpster, Grumbo's Health Pot, Grumbo's Crack Cocaine, Grumbo's Mana Pot, Grumbo's Grumbo's Suspicious Substance. There you go. Grumbo's Suspicious Substance for the finesse one or something. Yeah. Like Grumbo's Might, Grumbo's, I don't know, Intellect could draw you cards, or like Grumbo's Intellect could be like Ponder. It's a 1 cost, scry 1, draw a card. There's so much. There's so many options with Grumbo. I think there should be a Grumbo set. Just lean into him. It's got to be set like 3 or 4 before the end of the year. Come on, I want to play Grumbo Tribal in Worlds. I want to play Grumbo Tribal now, and I think with Grumbo's dice getting more viable, it could be possible. But there needs to be more Grumbo. Grumbo companion, like you could have Grumbo as a companion. Just card could just be called Grumbo. Oh, and then imagine some other effect like Grumbo's little helpers, and they're also little companions with like, if you have a Grumbo on the field for each Grumbo's companion, you get like +1 to hit or something, and then also like double up or something like that. So that it's almost like almost similar to like a token deck almost, or just straight up tokens, Grumbo tokens. Yeah, make Grumbo's helpers tokens, and you make Grumbo's factory generates Grumbo's little helpers. Yeah. Yeah. Or does Grumbo's little helpers? I mean, there's like the little dudes in Kraymog's Furnaces art. Yeah. You just get a bunch of them. Then you could play like go wide swarm effects, where like each one on the board maybe allows you to attack with it, but it's like -10 to hit and -10 damage or something like that. For like melee or range, however, or like something like a go wide effect. Because then you could have like a similar deck archetype to how White Weenie plays, where you like flood the board with a bunch of little dudes and then like try to get damage. You just try. Like it might not work, but you can try. Then you can then you get card effects like and I imagine Grumbo. Ooh. No, I just had an idea, but I imagine you have effects like the Inspirante one, where that's the next roll, but maybe for your turn, your rolls get +3 or something. With like White Weenie, that would be like super viable of a strategy and make a lot of sense. I did have an idea though. What would be really funny is if you do the Grumbo set, a new Paragon pops up and it's Grumbo. Or no, I don't know, something. Maybe like what's like the progenitor of Grumbo's species? Like the what? I'll have to wait and see. I'm thinking like maybe there's like a god of Grumbo's species, and that's the new Paragon, and maybe like that could also be a card eventually or something. I still like the idea of like the Paragons having like a you know how you get like in Magic there's the color combos, and one of them is Rakdos, and then Rakdos is just straight up a card. You play the embodiment of a card color. No. Yeah. I was like it'd be dope. It'd be cool. But no, Grumbo Tribal and the Grumbo Paragon, and Grumbo would be dope. Looking Vanishing Act is kind of the same as like Titanic Cleave and Hit Streak. And the defense one too. The defense one is actually super fine the way it is, and Vanishing Act probably is too. I would just, oh my god, Titanic Cleave would feel so good. But no, in the future, another deck. Grumbo's Nuclear Bomb. Grumbo's Nuclear Bomb. It's like a 4-cost burn X +5 times X, but with stockpile. Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, I just realized on Underdog's Glory's card art, they just have a massive hand back there. Underdog's Glory. Yeah, I never noticed that. I thought they were just like, it was like something in the background that was flopped to their dead. I just realized that their arm is just actually huge. It's kind of messed up, but like, of course you won with that shit. You punch something once and it explodes. I love that idea. The My only fear is between Grumbo's Grotto and stuff like Raiju and other forecasts. The level of which I could realistically Grumbo's Grotto or Raiju, grab the furnace copies I need. And then the next time I pop that, I'm pretty much already going to be at 10 stacks on that, which could let me grab, say, a Grumbo's Grotto and search again and be able to recur Grumbo's Grotto, which isn't inherently the worst thing because I'm just searching. There's no like big payoff, but obviously the payoff is what I grab, like Raiju. So, mastery. That's why I think just make Grotto a mastery. It's the same thing. It's a search effect. You could keep it consistent unless you want Grotto to search Grotto, in which case that's valid, I guess, as far as deck thinning goes. Well, I actually do like doing that. I'll go Grotto Raiju the next turn, Grotto Raiju the next turn. I mean, that gets rid of 9 cards out of a 40 card deck. It makes your draws more consistent for the rest of the game. And when you're running 10 Raiju plus the starting cards you already had, you're pretty much drawing a Raiju like every other card. You can get Raiju out like by turn 4 or 5, really. Or 3 even. I don't hate it. We'll check it out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, I still think the furnace, like if you want furnace to be viable, make it not be X minus 2, just make it be X, right? Discard your hand and draw a new hand. Of course, but why change the card if in the future you might release the same effect again? Yeah. I'll tell you what it'll do. With the Vidair changes that make it more viable and the Shukra changes that make it more viable, it makes Divinus have a way to not only draw a bunch of their cards that they need, but it also gives them a way to dig through their deck for things like payoff cards that they can then recur with Shukra to get back. Yes, but imagine you could run a 60 card deck. And here's my thought process. You could run a 60 card deck. You can burn through it a lot quicker and then recur things as you need them. It allows Divinus to play a toolbox strategy. It allows Calidus to play a toolbox strategy. You know, anything with any amount of recursion can now play somewhat toolboxy by bloating the deck. But once you do get Furnace out, you immediately start burning through it every turn until you basically can just start playing whatever you want. And even though there's not anything. Yes, it is better in the current landscape of the game, but maybe there's cards that have effects when they're in the scrapyard in the future, right? I don't think like fully reworking Furnace just because it's not good right now, particularly justifies like reworking it so much as I think it would be cooler to, and trying to help you guys out here with like getting more cards in every set. It would be cooler to throw that effect you're talking about on a new card. Grumbo's Dumpster. Done. Of course. You don't need to add more. Honestly, the cards that are out right now are like pretty chill. There's a lot of archetypes. Everything's like pretty viable. Once some things get brought up to power, it'll be able to compete more with the strongest decks, which in my mind are Callous Control, Raiju into like Jada or Stormforge Blaster, and the counter deck. Right? Maybe the heal deck, but obviously if there's removal that it struggles. But you know, like there's Udon is a strategy, like Malik is a strategy, just general weapons is a strategy. You get stuff like the Jaga or whatever, or Lagar, sorry, Lagar is a strategy. Talmir is a strategy that works really well. You can get stuff like Incarnation of Misery, I actually think is probably pretty strong once we get a little bit more gameplay with it. With the Grumbo's dice changes, you'll actually be able to play somewhat more of a role manipulation archetype, which would be cool, which I think would probably be good in Divinus if you can furnace through your deck to where every turn you're drawing into Grumbo's dices, you can have like eventually full control over what's being rolled, which Divinus sounds like divination, and that's what divination is in every RPG, is like having control over like roles, like a divination wizard and stuff. Fisk and Blade is a super good strategy for like burn stuff. A recurring Grumbo's Ale is a good like defensive strategy that people can do. Yeah, yeah. Well, again, I was literally going to, but I just figured Boo Goo Buddy with Malik is strong. Yeah, you get a Sizio as a strategy for an aggro strategy. Dreadnought Cannon's a strategy for like a relatively aggro range strategy. You get just control in general is a good strategy. Daga is a good strategy, both as aggressively and control. Boo Goo Buddy with like any melee weapon is a good strategy. Atash is actually a good strategy. I was surprised I didn't see Atash at all. Well, again, like I had my Raiju Jada strategy, but I also had a Raiju Atash strategy that would have been solid as well. Um, you can do, yeah, there's just a bunch of strategies. I don't think that it's inherently an issue. With the cards that we have. Yeah, I don't think we need to like exemplify the cards that there is currently. I think you can just save that card effect for another card in a future set, which gives you more cards in that set. You know, that way you get closer to that 120 card set each time that you were kind of aiming for. Uh, mm, yeah. But if you wanted to make the furnace make more sense, don't do X minus 2, just make it X. Because you're still discarding cards. Yeah. So you're still going with that rework. Okay. Oh, but imagine current Kraymog's Furnace with that card effect in the future. it, discard your hand to draw cards, either X minus 2 or X, and every time a card goes into the scrapyard, add counters, you could discard your hand of 7 cards and almost immediately have it procced to get another thing out, plus basically a new hand of cards, right? Well, you're drawing. You're drawing cards. Like it's good card draw, right? Right. Right. Sure. I think with how busted it is just to pull one copy of a card with Regolith at the moment before it gets nerfed, you would be surprised how actually strong it would be to be able to pull out like a 3 cost, a 4 cost, a 5 cost. Titanic Cleave is a good example of a card that has good payoff with that. Mm. Of course. Well, yeah, what I'm trying to get at is it doesn't have to be better for now. As you said, some cards are going to suck, but even in games where some cards suck, eventually cards come out that maybe make the sucky cards not suck. Happens to Magic, happens to Yu-Gi-Oh, happens to Pokemon, right? I actually don't hate Kraymog's Furnace. I actually would run this card in certain decks. And if you were worried about it having not as good of a payoff, make it to where you just draw X and it's just a hand refresh card. Because again, you're still at the detriment of your losing copies of cards, which depending on how many copies you have in your deck and what's already been played, you might not get to play certain cards anymore at the risk or at the benefit of being able to draw into hopefully your other things should you not have regeneration. Now, I would only play it in Calidus or Divinus at the moment because you do want that being able to grab stuff out of your scrapyard. But I don't hate it in Divinus. I actually think with the Divinus changes, it would be a really cool card. Personally. Well, maybe you're not running an Assizio strategy. You know, maybe what you're wanting to do is recur other things. Maybe it gives Divinus a way to play more controllingly without pitching and spending Genki on that. You can save your Genki for Shukra and Vidaire, and you can just keep pitching stuff and drawing to be able to get to Scattershot, right? Scattershot's an option. You can keep recurring stuff like Pocket Sands and Disarming Strikes and Knockout Needles for more controlling gameplay. You can keep getting what's the one card here? The armor that goes away sometimes if you get hit hard enough. You know, there's Iron Resolve and all those cards like a Titanic Cleave, Hit Streak, Iron Resolve, and the running away one. You can recur those pretty much and keep drawing into them. Grumbo's Ale, another one that you can keep doing. You know, yeah, Ember Steel Armor. Dreadnought Cannon is even possibly an option. Just putting it in there to then like be able to recharge it and stuff and recur the recharge just for consistency. Caltrops and Smokescreen suddenly have a deck that they can more feasibly play in. You can run one copy of Caltrops and Smokescreen because if you keep pitching them, you're guaranteed to get them out unless you go up against Ad Phantom, which even then doesn't really matter as much because you just have other things that can deal with it. You can keep recurring Disarming Strikes. You can keep recurring Duraku Injectors, you know, so you never run out of the Genki. Arthur's Intuition, you could keep bringing back. The one, I don't know if you can keep bringing back Underdog's Glory because that stockpiles, but Abandon Reason, you could keep doing. Like, there's aggro and control and sort of mid-range options where you're not running a Sizio, you're running more of a quickly pitch everything you have so that you can start bringing back things as you need them, like strategy. You know, I don't think that it's bad if, honestly, once the changes to Vidaire and Shukra go through, I actually think that it's probably going to be one of the better strategies in the game, whether you run a Sizio aggro or Kramog's Furnace toolbox, you know? Well, if you change the card to the way that you're talking about, there's no reason reverting it because it's going to be strong. It's a good card. I'm just, reworking a card to be a completely different card effect basically when it still is a card that serves a purpose is just odd when you could just save that card idea you have for a future release. And yeah. Right. Unknown Serum's another one. Well, to be honest, too, that is also because it's hard to get to the payoff because Vidaire costs 3 and Shukr costs 3. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate it because I mean in decks that can use the graveyard, which Divinus is like the main one, really, it does give a way without needing to spend Genki to pitch cards, and you're also drawing cards off of it too. So it's, in my mind, it is a massive value generator. In Divinus specifically, that is the main deck it's going to be used in. It is a massive value generator for that archetype. Well, sure. But wasn't that the exact issue with the masteries that every deck was running them and running a bunch of copies because they were so good? The way, yeah, yeah, it was a massive deck thinning. It was great. Yeah, it was. It was. If you know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh, Upstart Goblin just got put back to 3, and a lot of decks run it because it makes basically your deck a 37 card deck. Because it's draw one card, your opponent gets 1,000 life points. Yeah, Upstart Goblin is draw one card, your opponent gets 1,000 life points, and it just got brought back from limited 1 to full play set of 3. And there's a lot of, yeah, yeah. So you, what needs to be realized with Yu-Gi-Oh too is like almost every card starts a combo into an end board, and that's why Pot of Greed, which is draw 2 cards, is banned because it's busted. Plus, there's spell recursion and stuff like that. Upstart Goblin, you draw 1 card and your opponent gets 1,000 life points. Just got brought back to 3, and this is an old card, like one of the first cards in the game, really, and it has been limited 1 or banned for a long time. It just got brought back, and the decks that do use it benefit from it highly because it makes the deck basically a 37 card deck. Yeah, it makes the deck a 37 card deck. It increases your consistency massively, and for decks that like, because if you have it, you you play it. and you draw a card. Yeah, you're playing a 37 card deck. But yes, for decks like Sky Strikers, where depending on how many spell cards in your graveyard you have, your other cards get bonuses. It allows you to then have a free, basically, pitch a card to the graveyard that helps you, and then you draw a card. So the idea is, two, it makes decks like that faster as well, to get to their main like engine in the graveyard going. Yeah, and I see the same thing in Divinus. And I mean, think about it too. There's a lot of cards that are like only really going to see play in one archetype, you know. So, like Stormforged Blaster, that's only going to be seen in Stormforged Blaster, but it can be played in everything. But like, why would you really? You're going to play Stormforged Blaster, or you're going to use like Raiju Grumbo's Grotto to get it faster, because like it's your main payoff card. But like things like Subduing Strands, you're only going to use in a range deck. So that's half the decks it gets to be used in, right? Smokescreen, you only get to use if your opponent is fighting with a ranged deck. Same with Caltrops for melee. Um, oh, okay. I suppose it's not terrible then, but I mean, still one card for 3, and then like it burns one. I understand, but mm-hmm. Most decks won't run Redemption. Mm, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think it serves purposes in a couple different strategies. I think, especially if you make it draw X, or instead of X minus 2, it does get better, but it sees play in Divinus. It sees play in Calidus. It could reasonably see play. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah. Because it like, think about it. Calidus, one of the main drawbacks of Calidus, my deck being 60 cards too, because it has to run all the control cards. And I literally thought about running Kraymog's Furnace in that deck because that deck struggles with drawing cards. It is slow to draw cards. Now, sure, it might be slow to get the cards back, but I can still draw my cards, right? And get to things I might need. Of course, but now I could be reasonably drawing 7 cards a turn. I mean, even if it's X minus 2, I have 7 cards, pitch them, draw 5, and then the next turn draw 7. I'm still technically like kind of drawing 7 cards a turn. Is just offset by like half a turn for the 5, right? Yeah. Yeah, recur them as I please. I could run Envision Sanctuary. It makes it a little bit quicker and gives me a little bit more card draw and discard power. You know, it gives Calidus a strategy that allows it to play not entirely relying on control. Maybe you can run stuff like Calidus with Titanic Cleave, Dreadnought Cannon, stuff like that, where okay, I need a lot of copies of this. Let me burn through my deck as quickly as I can to get it online really fast and just keep it going. Because like once the Dreadnought Cannon's up, then I just recur one every turn. Well, that is also a perfectly viable option. You know, maybe. Well, yeah, no, that's a perfectly viable option as like a self mill type thing. And it would see play. Abyss. Can Adfonsom target the Arsenal? Because in that case, Calidus all of a sudden can play mill. Dear Christ. Yeah. Hey, no, and that's the thing. Mill strategies eventually could very well exist. And there's another thing with Kramog's Furnace in the future, and I think that this would be a great one for Concilium, possibly, or Praesidium, is like it's a passive card where every time you discard a card, your opponent mills like 2, right? Yeah, and then Kramog's Furnace isn't yet another engine. And I'm just trying to think as far as like you get Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. All of them are pretty much um like their own separate thing, and they all have their own way to play out of different zones. But the most consistent thing that they all have is being able to utilize the discard pile, whatever that pile's name may be, graveyard, discard, graveyard again. No, graveyard, discard, or scrapyard, or whatever it needs to be, right? Um, being able to play out of the graveyard and use it as a basically storage for resources, and using strategies to pitch things there to bring them back as you need them. Not every strategy uses that. Actually, it's very rare as far as Pokemon goes, and it's very common for Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, it's like hit or miss depending on what you're doing. But every basically TCG has it as this is a zone that you're able to use to generate value. And in my mind, Kramog's Furnace and Divinus and Calidus currently, and as we go into the future, other Paragons eventually will be able to get cards that can utilize that effect as well, right? It's not like just because it's only useful for Calidus and Divinus right now doesn't mean in the future every Paragon like still can't use, like they can still, they'll probably be able to use it again. Mill could be a Concilium thing. It already basically is a mill deck or like archetype with Hinengaro or whatever, right? It's like pseudo mill. You can pop their hand and now you might be able to mill their deck and you can kind of play like a crazy mill strategy. And you get just other things like that. Enteritus could probably utilize it to some extent way into the future if it has a thing where it's like, I don't know, some aggro thing in the graveyard. You know, Praesidium seems to make a little bit more sense because it's techie almost a little bit, or like magic-y, I should say. Maybe you have like, maybe you pitch cards and then maybe there's a way to recur eventually where you can recur things like counter spell, right? Profectus actually can benefit from it to some extent because, say, eventually you're able to start recurring things. You're able to pitch stuff like Wakapori or Irizumi and start recurring them to like have more heals or something. You're able to get to Kintsugi faster. Like even decks that don't benefit from it being in the graveyard, if you timed correctly and used correctly, you could still get card draw off of it. You know, so for the other archetypes, it takes a good player to use. And then for the main two currently, it actually could very easily see quite a lot of play. I don't hate it, and I think going into the future it only gets better. So I don't think there's any need to be like hasty with it at the moment. If anything were to be done with it, just get rid of the -2 to make it stronger for decks that don't recur, and just use it for card draw at the detriment of losing card copies. You know, risk reward card. Because like right now too, there's not a lot of card draw in the game. There's Arthur's Intuition. the one counter swords and Vidar, and that is like, and smokescreen, and that is pretty much it. And they're all basically pure value draws. Maybe, okay, now you get to draw a bunch more cards, but the detriment is you're losing a lot for that. Some decks can abuse what you lose, and some decks can't, and it requires a good player to utilize, but it allows you to still have good card draw. Because again, I was going to use it if I was running Fiskin Blade, I would have ran six Fiskin Blade, and I would have probably ran 4 Kraymog's Furnaces. I can draw my deck quicker and recur the things I need with the hammer, which would allow me to be able to, especially with like 9 copies of Malik and like max copies of all of the other control cards, it allows me to get to things like my Grumbo's Ale quicker. It might allow me to get to Mkono quicker if I don't have any in my hand, right? It allows me to get Malik out quicker if I don't have any in my hand. Massively. Like, in a deck that can run it, yes. In a deck that can't run it, honestly, still yes, if you're a good player and know how to work around it well. Because again, like, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I could have 6 copies of Brass Hideout in my hand, and I still think it's probably better value to use Kraymog's Furnace, even on the -2. Because I get 4 cards. Yeah. I might have a card guaranteed, but in this scenario, I now have 4 cards, which lets me dig a little deeper into my deck. And the games last so long that maybe I'm delayed a turn to get a card, but I'm getting closer to having really hot draws multiple turns in a row because it's towards the end of my deck quicker, where I'm getting all of the pieces I need to get the rest of my cards out. Again, in decks that can't abuse it like Calidus and Divinus, it requires a good player to know what hands are worth discarding and what hands aren't at a time. But in Calidus and Divinus, it gives those two archetypes strategies external from their Paragon-specific stuff, their Jumons, and allows them to play more of a grind game graveyard recursion rather than aggro Assizio, or more of a controlling Calidus build with like, whatchamacallit, Ales and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, now, yeah. Well, think about it this way. You can now run a deck with Kraymog's Furnace and the Masteries, and maybe, yeah, you draw 4 cards, but 2 of those is a mastery, and like 2 of them are what you need, or vice versa. The deck thinning is very strong. In a 40 card deck, you can, by turn 2 or 3, really be having cards to play every turn because you've thinned out the bulk that lets you search and get advantage to then keep playing and keep playing. There's a reason card draw is the single strongest effect in every single TCG, because it gives you advantage. And Kraymog's Furnace, at the, for some archetypes, risk of losing copies of cards, gives you the most card advantage compared to any of the other cards. You might not have the card you need to play immediately, but you're gaining more advantage over the course of a game. And if you're that worried about the -2 losing value, make it to be no minus or -1. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying, is it's high risk, high reward. The risk is you're pitching copies. Some of those copies, depending on the deck archetype, could be the last ones for that card that you need, and you can no longer play that card. But the card draw could be worth it. And even for decks that can use it, Calidus is so slow, and you're going to put it to 3 now so that it's even more slow. That Calidus, while it would still use it, it's going to use it very slowly. So the risk is still massive. It's multi-turns of risk to be able to still get a card effect out. And Divinus, while it's less massive, requires you to still basically spend a few turns burning through your deck, and some turns even waiting to make sure you don't burn all your Shukra away, to make sure you have it to play, to be able to get there. And then the other risk too is all the cards you've burnt. What if your opponent removes your Shukra or your Hammer, right? Now you can't recur any of that. So it's a very, very massive risk for the reward of decent card advantage compared to any other draw card. Oh, Shukra. Mm-hmm. It's high risk, high reward. Yep. Again, it is a card that benefits good players who can play around it. Because yes, you can screw yourself very easily. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I just would hate to see it go away because it does have playability. Well, okay. I would hate to see it go away when the card idea that you have now could very easily be introduced later as a separate card that, first of all, works very well with Kramog's Furnace, and second of all, would just, upon opening a new pack of the cards, would be like, holy shit, this card is so cool, and it could be like a legendary or whatever. Like, it could be strong, because inherently the card effect you're saying is very strong and can be played in everything, but that doesn't mean it has to exist in the first set. Right. I suppose. I mean, yeah, like, no, I do see it both ways. I just, for the sake of the Kramox furnace is already established and already is like there. There's no reason to like fully change the whole identity of the card just to bring in a new idea when the new idea could just be a new card in the next set. Or even, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Uh-huh. Yeah. Adventure boots. Well, I actually think that that's what you should probably be aiming for, is that almost every card in this initial set is like good and has playability because it makes everything good. Sure. But I think having plus 10 but it damages yourself and then going straight to plus 30 with no drawback is pretty strong power creep. For the sake of the argument, like damn. I imagine a plus 30 melee card being you take the damage you deal to your opponent as well. 5 cost plus 50. Okay, and I immediately love your idea because I've seen this done in other card games and I love it. It's you build the different pieces of like some sort of mech suit, and then all of a sudden you're just like, God, make them indestructible. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you figure the costs of those will be? 3 or 4, with maybe the head is like 5 and then the others are 3. The whole deck is it. Yeah. And they're gonna be indestructible, right? They're gonna be indestructible, yeah. Yeah. It yeah. The amount of investment of the deck's space you'd have to put in, it would have to be invulnerable because otherwise any amount of removal in the deck would completely crumble. The yeah. Yeah, no, of course it'll have no bonus. Maybe the head gives like +1 speed, +1 melee, +1 range, just like while it's there. But then once you assemble everything, it's like the backs of the cards when you flip them turns into the different pieces of it, and then it's like boom, right? Yeah. Yeah. I just had a thought. I just had a thought. You know those big like Pokemon cards that they have? Like the big ones? Okay, there are Pokemon cards that, for example, I've got a 27-inch monitor. It's bigger than that monitor. Yeah, yeah, they're like posters basically. But there's also ones that are a little bit closer to maybe I want to say 12 inches from diagonal to diagonal, right? And I like to imagine somebody brings that and their deck, and then they just out of their bag whip out boom, and they just put it on their board because it's the only card that they can really use anymore. And it's I am mech now, fight me. Because yeah, no, that'd be a cool strategy because it's expensive, it's hard to get out. Honestly, all of the cards could be 5 costs within reason. I think all of the cards are 5 costs, but you can only run one set of them. Make it to where you're not just filling the whole deck with pieces and then like turn 3 or 4 basically having it. Because like Exodia is limit 1, right? Exodia is limit 1, so you can only have one of each copy in your deck. If you're gonna make it the maximum cost currently of 5, make it limit 1 set, or yeah, make it make it cost, yeah, you could make it even cost 10. You'd have to draw the whole deck of 40 cards. But that feels disgusting. Because it would be, yeah. Yeah, there are ideas for sure. But I would say 5, 6 if you really wanted to make it to where you can only run one actual copy. But again, it's like if you're gonna run it at all, most people are gonna run 10 so that they get it quicker or whatever. So to be completely honest with you, it might genuinely be better to run them as ones, but make them like masteries so you can't search them. Or just literally write on the card. The only effect the cards have is you cannot search this card. That way, or maybe honestly, maybe you can search the card because there's not a lot of search power in the game, and maybe you do get it out. Okay, there's still strong stuff. Cool, you hit me hard. I have Heart of Malik. like there's other things that have big burst damage. Atash has massive, you know, burst damage. Boo Buddy actually can get really fast. Daga is crazy. You know, so there's Daga on the mech would actually be damn near an instant kill. If they were all one cost, realistically, just like as far as the game works, if they were all one cost, Daga, you could dump like 15 Genki into it onto one cost and just target the head. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I think having legs, arms, and head, and then shoulder rocket launchers, different weapons, thruster pack that gives you speed. Like there's other things that augment it. Mm-hmm. Thopters. Right. Uh-huh. Maybe there's like a crafting mechanic where you craft them actively. My thought with the big mech is kind of similar, where maybe it's easy to craft the mech suit, but it doesn't do anything until you augment it with all of the different cards that buff it, which then, yeah, you can run a whole deck of just mech suit augments, and the mech suit could be like 3 for each piece, so you run 9 to get the suit out, and then you just run a bunch of copies of cards like missile launcher, sword, gun, thruster pack, all this stuff that augments the stats and makes it strong when you like complete it, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that, where now you want to build the mech suit and then augment the shit out of it to make it good, rather than just having, oh dear Christ, when the mech suit hits the board and it's you can't remove it and it's an insta win. Yeah, because to some extent, I'd rather just lose to Exodia than get swung on multiple turns in a row and not be able to do anything. I'd rather just Grumbo appear and obliterate me. You know, like because Grumbo's totally the god of the universe. Yeah, Grumbo obliterate. Yeah. Oh yeah, what is your plan for god cards? Right, like Boo Goo Buddy and stuff. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yep. Oh wait, then Raiju's like a 2.5 or a 3. Sure. But on scale, Raiju would fuck up through low. Right. Right. Uh-huh. Yep. And you can evolve it. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Right. So almost like maybe even lesser so like evolving in Pokemon because you don't need as many copies and everything in Pokemon, but almost like mega evolution in Pokemon. Because mega evolutions in Pokemon is you upgrade, but your turn ends, right? Unless you use certain cards that allow you to not have your turn end for that. So yeah, okay. Right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. That's what I thought too. Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah. And that gives you in the future ways to make cards that maybe get power crept back to being like viable again. Because maybe a Tash in the future just literally gets power scaled, but now you get a Tash parentheses white parenthesis, and it makes it strong, right? And it gives you strategies like that. Probably that whole effect type doesn't even need to come out in like the first year, even, let alone probably first three. Yeah, but yeah, no, that sounds super cool. Adhikara's next evolution means it doesn't give you fatigue when it's in the scrapyard. Yeah, like an AoE thing. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which makes Raiju Jada an even better archetype. Yeah, add Phantom's upgrade. What would you do for that? It AoEs the whole board. Ew. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Udana's upgrade, your opponent can't hit you with melee or ranged. Which would make that card be banned. I mean, yeah. Mm. Thulo turns into Godzilla. Turns into like a big dinosaur dude, and then the tier 3 is just straight up Godzilla. Yeah. 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 So Shattered Void is just terrifying. Schizophrenia. Yeah. I like the idea of upgraded Karu just being you erect an entire like kingdom wall, Great Wall of China stuff. Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that idea. Hinengaro's upgrade, your opponent discards their hand. Which again, it leans into making stuff really OP, but like still having counterplay and stuff like that. Yeah, of course. Which goes back even to it just ties back perfectly to rather than nerfing some cards, I feel like bringing other cards up to their power level is a better option because everything again should feel like it has impact. Yeah, which is why I think it's bullshit you're gonna nerf Regolith. Okay, that's better. Yeah. Those are my two too. They feel the best to play at the moment. I would love Concilium. Okay, seriously though, next releases for Concilium, we need a Mirror Force effect and we need a Magic Cylinder effect, and then I think Concilium's viable. Like you have Mirror Force, and then when your opponent attacks you with a weapon, you trigger it and it destroys the weapon. Yeah, doesn't do shit against Malik, but mm-hmm. Right, right. Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you. Yeah. Do you want me to just send you a you want me to just shoot you a DM of what of the different things I want to? All right. Sounds good. Thank you. This was fun. Yeah, for sure. For sure. You guys aren't going to Comic-Con? Right. Okay. Yep. Cool. Yep. Yeah, have a good night. For sure. Thank you. See you guys next time. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. That was fun. That was good. We win those, baby.